we probably might rename it Planning Ahead. I hope that sits well with everyone, because it's a little bit of work around doing an advanced care directive. So I figured when we were talking about planning ahead that we probably should talk about what is the meaning of capacity, what is an enduring guardianship, what do we mean again by enduring power of attorney, where does palliative care fit in with people with Parkinson's, and what is an advanced care directive, and when and why should I address these documents? So does that fit well with everybody about how we'll chat about these things? They're difficult topics, and so I'm very aware of the sensitivity of those, and I'll also endeavour not to bring my own personal values or views into these. So I have actually had a look through the data and had a look at some of the research qualitative studies, and I came up with a number of themes about Parkinson's and planning ahead. And some of the themes were, I'm even in denial about my Parkinson's disease diagnosis. When we're talking about planning ahead, I'm not at that stage of my Parkinson's disease. I don't need to do an advanced care directive. I will avoid all discussions on doing an advanced care directive. I don't even want to discuss making a will. What if there is a cure for PD at the last minute and I've come up with a very clever advanced care directive? Or I'll leave those end-of-life decisions up to my loved ones and my doctor. So they were some of the themes around Parkinson's, given that it's a progressive, insidious neurodegenerative.
14389.
So I spoke to a couple of my colleagues, and one in particular who's tuned in. And what do we say? We reckon that people have to plan, and plan ahead. The more plans we have, the less we probably need them. And the other thing about Parkinson's disease is that we don't really have a crystal ball or a length of string to work out when we should make these plans. So I think if you do it now, on a diagnosis of Parkinson's, and also address all the other people that may be tuning in that don't have Parkinson's. This is not just about people with Parkinson's. I think we all need to participate in these conversations and have these documents in place. So the first thing is, what is capacity? So capacity is that anybody who's over 18 years of age should consider planning ahead, because capacity means that when you're making a decision that you have intact, understanding the facts involved that people are presenting you with, understanding the choices that you may be offered, say about healthcare, weighing up the consequences of those choices and understanding how the consequences of those choices affect you, and that you can actually effectively communicate your decision to people. So we worry that when people don't have capacity, then other people may have to make these decisions for them. We talk about, we used to talk about having a next of kin, but now the language is actually around a person responsible. So have a consideration of who is your person responsible. And believe it or not, there's always an act. So under the 33A, Section 4 of the Guardianship Act in 1987, there's a hierarchy of who your person responsibility is. So number one, it could be a guardian who's been an appointed guardian or an enduring guardian, and I'll explain what that means. It can be a spouse or a partner. So that means a spouse, a de facto partner who's in a close and continuing relationship with you. A carer, which is number 3, is an unpaid carer who provides or arranges for domestic support on a regular basis, can be a person responsible, or even a relative or friend who has a close personal relationship, has frequent contact with you, and has a personal interest in the person's welfare, which is usually on an unpaid basis. So they're the hierarchy of people that we would consider as your person responsible, and perhaps those who may have to make a decision for you are if you have lost capacity. So all this is all hinging on capacity. So an enduring guardian or a guardian is someone that you appoint to make lifestyle and health decisions on your behalf. And again, that's when you don't have capacity to make them for yourself. So in the document, and I'll show you where we can access it, you can actually discuss with this person responsible functions that you wish to give to your enduring guardian. And people often ask me, what does that mean? And it means things like, where do you want, if you lost capacity, and where would you like to live? Do you think it would be worthwhile pulling out all the stops to stay at home? Under no circumstances you want to go into an aged care facility. Under no circumstances do you want this or that. That would not be acceptable to you. What medical treatments would you wish to receive if you couldn't have the capacity to make those decisions? I put down here that if I told my kids in my enduring guardianship that I want them to put my daily red lipstick on, and I definitely want them to shave my legs. These are about my health and lifestyle and what it is for me that addresses my quality of life as well. So there's a whole range of things that you can, or these areas or functions that you can discuss with your enduring guardian and put down about your wishes if you can't make those yourselves. So how do we appoint an enduring guardian? Well, the whole idea is about having conversations with those people that you trust and feel would be your enduring guardian. It makes it a lot easier these days that you can actually download these enduring guardianship forms. And I've just taken this off a website, off the Appointment of Enduring Guardian digital form, which you can get off, it's called, I've forgotten the name of it. Oh, Trustee, the Trustee website, the New South Wales Trustee website. And also down off the Services New South Wales Government website. So the documents there's some wonderful brochures and information about appointing an enduring guardianship or an enduring guardian. And you can also see that there's also, you can revoke an appointment of enduring guardian, and the person who's actually may have been appointed as enduring guardian can also put in their resignation that they no longer wish to be your guardian on that form. Just interesting enough, I've actually just been through this process with a family member, and we were actually able to download the forms. We've had these discussions about what this family member would like as his disease progresses, which is not Parkinson's, by the way, but and then what would happen to him at the end of life too. So these are all been put into the conversation, and I've taken it off to a court register. I didn't actually have to go to a solicitor, and they were able to sign off, but they did actually ask me what I understood and knew about enduring guardian forms. So it's good, you need to have that background about what your responsibility is to be that person. The enduring guardian, and I'm harping on, I realise, but it only comes into effect if or when someone loses capacity. It's only effective during a period of incapacity, so it may never become operational. You may never need it. And again, it's back to that plan. If you've got all those planning mechanisms in place, you often don't need them. You can appoint one or more people to be your enduring guardians, and also to note that the enduring guardianship is not an advanced care directive. It's not a living will. We'll talk about those things too. So these are sort of like the layers of documents that we really recommend that you put together. People ask about the enduring power of attorney as well, and I definitely say it's another document that manages your financial, property and legal affairs if, again, you have no capacity to make these decisions. So you really want to entrust a person that you do trust these legal documents. And I also wanted to make a note, the difference between an enduring power of attorney is an ongoing, but for instance, you may be aware that quite a few of the nurses we're going to be going to Barcelona for the World Parkinsons Congress. I'll probably appoint my brother as a power of attorney because I'm going to go overseas, and if I needed any financial, property and legal affairs, which I don't really have, but if I did, he would be able to act on my behalf. So just to sum these up, so enduring guardianship is about conversations and decisions about your health and lifestyle, and the enduring power of attorney is about property, financial and legal affairs. So please have conversations and put these documents together. We talk about Parkinson's care, Parkinson's plus care, and we know too that optimal PD care definitely requires an integrated, interdisciplinary approach with appropriate treatment, rehabilitation, and palliative care provided by interdisciplinary teams with expertise in these neurological disorders. And I've popped that in there. It's just a general statement. It came from the World Health Organization, and I just wanted to talk about disease progression as well. So, you know, life with Parkinson's after 10 years, we know that everybody's journey is very difficult. The word heterogeneous comes into effect every time. Everybody's journey is unique and individual. Their rates of progression differ, and physical effects such as, you know, the slowness, rigidity, and tremor are different. And probably, you know, after 10 years, there's, you know, a higher prevalence of one of these major issues, including, I'd say, ranging from mild cognition impairment to a dementia or to worsening physical disability. We know it's not a terminal disease, and that often deaths with Parkinson's are due to falls or aspiration pneumonia. But under the definition of a palliative care, Parkinson's and Parkinson's plus really are life-limiting illnesses because there's no cure. And the reason why I jump on the bandwagon of that is because palliative care have a whole bunch of resources that we'd like to tap into. So what is palliative care? Palliative care is a person and family-centered care for a person with an active, progressive, advanced disease who has little or no prospect of cure and who is expected to die, and for whom the primary goal is to optimize the quality of life. So that sits with basically our management of Parkinson's generally, doesn't it? It's all about maintaining someone's quality of life. And often the questions is, when do we refer people to palliative care? So again, just to re-emphasize, it's a multimodal approach to healthcare delivery that focuses on quality of life at all stages of the disease. I've had the wonderful experience of having worked at St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney, where we had a hospice and palliative care, and they really did try to change the language around the notion of palliative care, that it's not at the end of life, it's for people with incurable, life-limiting diseases, and to help maintain and manage those people as their disease progresses. So again, it fits in with our people with Parkinson's disease. And so one of the key concepts of palliative care is to support your autonomy by facilitating planning for the future. And there's some where it's all based in the literature as well. So, oopsie, so hang on. So the question was, when do we refer? I guess some feedback that I've had from my years of experience in Parkinson's is that palliative care, healthcare professionals had challenges in identifying a person's needs if they hit palliative care with an advanced disease, and that was usually due to interfering PD-specific symptoms like cognition decline and communication deficits. So on the flip note, I go back and say, let's go back and plan ahead. So I also went back into the databases about when to refer people to palliative care, so they weren't freaking out about thinking, oh, this is my end of life. No, again, it's not. And one author even suggested that symptom management and palliative care approaches should be actually discussed from the beginning of an illness. And I kind of felt, wow, that would be slightly confronting if someone's just been told they've got Parkinson's disease and now we're going to refer you to palliative care. That would be very frightening, I'm sure. But that was just one person's thought. And they want people, this author said, please become knowledgeable of advanced care planning or advanced care directives. And those roles have to be really given with the person with Parkinson's, the caregivers and health professionals. And the input is education, again, planning. The other thing that we know about with Parkinson's, as I've mentioned, is that the progression is very variable and personalised. And so the literature pointed out that there was no standard pathways for people with Parkinson's to be referred to palliative care. Interesting enough, one of the clients I was looking after in Port Macquarie, I was amazed that she was actually referred to the palliative care service and discharged at least 3 times. So that's kind of interesting too. Anyway, but they were supporting with her progressive disease. I hope I haven't freaked you out. I just think that palliative care has great resources that we can tap into as well. So what's this advanced care directive that I've been banging on about, and which was the topic? It's essentially about making your wishes known. So this is, and I say to people, have you done one? And they say, I've done my will. And we go back, no, let's do an Enduring Guardian, and let's also do an advanced care directive. So it really involves you, your loved ones, and health professionals. And this is really about your values, your wishes, and your beliefs, and mostly about what type of healthcare would you want to receive if you became seriously ill or injured and you were unable to say what you want. So when should we do this? The evidence is do it earlier on in your life when you're well. Have conversations with your responsible person about your beliefs and your values, and consider these medical, psychological and social values. The discussion should be very individualized in content, and also please, they can be revised and reviewed periodically. So preparing for an advanced care directive, there are wonderful websites out there from New South Wales Health about how to sort of initiate and prepare for these discussions. And it's so, thinking about what type of care you would like to receive or possibly refuse. Who would you like to make these decisions on your behalf, and even down to where would you like to be cared for if you were dying. So the documents, there's a pamphlets that I've just really taken off the Advanced Care Directive website, is about your beliefs and values. So it asks you, is it important for you to be able to communicate in some way, even if I can't speak? Will life have meaning when I can still enjoy nature or when I can practice my faith? I value my privacy, and then down to other considerations. I do not want to struggle to breathe. I don't want to be in pain. It's important to me that I spend my time in my garden. I'd like to stay at home as long as it's not too hard on my family or the people caring for me. I wouldn't like to die at home. I worry that that family or the people caring for me will not know what to do. So let's plan that so that they do know what to do. The document itself, if you go to it and download it, it's not too scary. This is just the first part of it. It says, it asks you sort of fairly broad questions. So if I can no longer recognize my family and loved ones, would I find that bearable? Okay, unbearable, or I'm not really sure. And if the unbearable is ticked, would you consider that treatment would be discontinued and you'd be allowed to die a natural death? So that means that we wouldn't use invasive therapy or, intubation or difficulty, helping with people with breathe, tubes for feeding, those kind of aspects. So, if you had no longer control of your bladder and bowels, how would you find that? And so the questions go on. And these, again, you can download the Advanced Care Directive and go through these with family members or your person responsible. So recapping, I really encourage people to put their Enduring Guardianship documents together and have some education and be informed, take control as well, have the conversations, prepare your Enduring Guardianship and attend to Advanced Care Directive, which again can be updated. It's not, my family members worried that if I'd said no invasive measures and he was hit by a bus, we would walk away. The questions aren't around those kind of things. They're quite broad, and they're more about the values and beliefs. So, and rest assured, there's plenty of resources and assistance for everyone on these difficult conversations and putting these documents together. My personal feedback, having worked in a very high acute neuroscience ward at St Vincent's, I really didn't want to, with the team, sort of having to resuscitate someone of who I knew nothing about at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know what their beliefs, values or wishes were. on the background of a neurodegenerative disease. So, and I really encourage people to make those documents so healthcare professionals do know what your beliefs and values are in those crisis times as well. I haven't included here. You can do these documents with a solicitor. You can download them. As I said, you can also take them off to a court registrar. I know that you can also do these and prepare these documents for the New South Wales Public Trustee and Guardian and NCAT. I suggest that offline that you watch a few of the Four Corners reports recently about how the public trustee can perhaps be a little bit more problematic than the actual reports do. So, please have the loved ones making these decisions for you, someone that you trust, preferably.